we're a little less than 2 weeks out from the mini set dropping on December 16th. And if you're anything like me, you might be a little bit tired of playing the absolute best decks in the game, and you want something a little bit refreshing to get you through those last 10 days until we get some new cards. I've compiled a list of my 5 favorite off-meta decks, the ones that I've been having the most fun of. We're going to go over them. I'll talk the strategies for them. We're going to order them from most gimmicky to best chance of actually being somewhat competitive. And if you guys are enjoying the content, please be sure to like and subscribe. I'm also doing my little Pokegold giveaway on this, so just make sure you're subbed to the channel. Comment below your favorite deck. I'm going to be picking winners on December 14th. That'll give you 10 days to get in, get entered, and then you'll have some Pokegold ready to go for the new set once it drops. Let's take a look at deck number 1, which is Dragonite Hypno. Okay, now as much as I wish he was, I don't think Dragonite is a very good deck anyways, so if I'm going to play Dragonite, I want to play as volatile as possible. The Hypno allows you to, after finally getting your Dragonite built up, send up the Dragonite, utilize hopefully 2 Hypnos to put your opponent to sleep, hopefully then leave them to sleep, and give your Dragonite just at least 1 extra turn while he's attacking and kind of just sweep the game from there. Dragonite is by far one of maybe just the most fun card in this game, right? The Draco Meteor attack is so sick. I love how they designed this card. I only wish that he has a little bit more support to be better in the future. But yeah, I absolutely love this card. I think it's so much fun. We are only playing Water and Lightning. Please do not play Psychic in this list. Best case scenario, you get 2 Psychics on a Hypno and 1 whatever other energy, and you attack for 50. Like, that's not going to do anything for you, man. That's going to do nothing. So leave the Psychics out of the deck. We're just focused on Dragonite. We have the Kangaskhan to be an early game wall more than anything. But if you can find the time to put an attachment on it, you can start Dizzy Punching. Hopefully, you know, dish out some damage. So once you finally Draco Meteor, you have more of a chance of actually winning the game. Rest of the list: 2 Potion, 2 XP, 2 Pokeball, 2 Research. Not playing any Sabrina. I don't care what my opponent has in the active spot. I'm going to be trying to slow them down with Hypno rather than like using Sabrina to pull something else up. The Giovanni can be relevant sometimes if you include it in here. What I much prefer to do is to, right once we send up the Dragonite, that's when we play that 1 of red card, just to limit our opponent's options as much as possible. They're probably going to have a pretty big hand size by the time you send that Dragonite up, and that could be the difference between, you know, a Mewtwo player having a Giovanni or not, just some way to one-shot the Dragonite. So that is my preferred, this is my preferred list. This is what I've been playing. Decks felt pretty good for me, but again, this is like high volatility, right? I mean, you're rocking a stage 2 as well as a stage 1 in the same deck. You're relying on coin flips to get you ahead, but when it works, man, oh my gosh, it's some of the most fun you can have in this game. Next, we're going to talk about the most toxic deck in the game, okay? So what we have here is 2 Articuno, a 2/2 Hypno line, 2 Psyduck, and 1 Articuno EX. This combines all of the worst aspects of the game, the things that feel the worst to lose to, into one package. So we have the 2 baby Articuno. They're there for the Ice Beam attack. Flip a coin if heads, your opponent's Pokemon is paralyzed. If you hit heads on that, your opponent cannot do anything with their active Pokemon for the next turn. They can't retreat it. They can't attack with it, unless, of course, they evolve it, but who cares? So hopefully Ice Beam will knock out anything that is set to evolve. It's going to knock out most basics with that 60 damage. We also pair it with the Hypno. So if we miss the heads on the paralysis, hopefully they stay asleep through the Hypno. The Psyduck is here as an early game option. More so, it is here because you really want to be starting with either an Articuno or an Articuno EX. You don't want to be starting with the Drowsy. So Psyduck is like the best basic that you can include in here that can be X-speeded out of, and also just gives you the option of being even more annoying and stopping your opponent from playing supporter cards on the first few turns of the game. The Articuno EX here is here for 2 reasons. Number 1, it can win you the game outright, right? That's like what Articuno EX has the power to do. And Articuno plus a successful Misty's has the chance to just win you the game right then and there. It's also good as the late game sort of sweeper because you're going to make your opponent go through 2 single prize Pokemon, and then at the end of the game, you can send up the Articuno, start swinging for just a little bit more damage, and hopefully sealed up that way. We have the potion just to fix some math on the Articuno to let it live a little longer. You know, if you're playing against a Mewtwo, you're going to want those potions to keep yourself from being 2-shot by Mewtwo's first attack. That'll make it a 3-shot for them at the very least. Also just good for the Articuno in some matchups. 2 XP, 2 Pokeball, 2 Research, 2 Misties, and 1 Sabrina. Rest list is very generic. This is a super, super volatile deck. If you win, your opponent is going to be so upset. They are not going to have fun playing against you. So if you want to terrorize the ladder a little bit, get back at some of the big meta decks that people are still running, go with this one. One of my favorite off-meta decks right here is Gengar EX. This is what I think is the best way to play Gengar EX. So we have the classic 2-2-2 Gengar EX line with the support of a 2 Zubat, 2 Golbat line, and 1 Kangaskhan. The Golbat is going to smooth over your Mewtwo matchup quite a bit. Golbat is such a great early attacker into the Mewtwo matchup, dishing out 40 damage consistently. If you're not playing against Mewtwo, you might still want to attack with the Golbat, but more often than not, you're going to want to attack with that Kangaskhan because it can live a couple more hits than the Golbat can. Like, Golbat's going to get one-shot by a Pikachu more often than not. Kangaskhan's going to live that. Golbat's going to get one-shot by an Articuno. Kangaskhan can live that. So Kangaskhan is the wall in most matchups, but for the Mewtwo matchup, we run the 2-2 Golbat. Gengar EX just feels so, like, it's just so much fun, right? Once you finally get that Gengar set up and you send it up, you shut off all their supporters, and it's like, listen, you have to deal with this Gengar EX in front of you. I'm getting the first attack in on your EX. You can't deal with anyone on the bench to win the game. You have to get through this Gengar. And if you can get 2 Gengars set up somehow, if the cards go your way, then you're now pivoting between Gengars that, even after taking a hit, are completely safe on the bench because of that ability blocking your opponent's supporters. It will also block, like, Misties, it'll block Research, it'll block Giovanni's, whatever they might have to help them win the game, they don't get access to. I've seen some lists, you know, play like Psyduck to keep the supporter lock going throughout the whole game. I don't really think it's that great. Psyduck is low HP. I don't think that 60 HP is going to give you enough time to set up a stage 2 consistently. So I think that this is just the best list, hands down. Of course, the rest of the list, 2 Potion, 2 XP, 2 Pokeball, 2 Research, 1 Sabrina. We're really just focused on getting that Gengar set up as fast as possible with 3 energy on it and going from there. We are opting to play the Promo Haunter over the regular Haunter. I don't think that the Promo Haunter is good. I think if you're sending up Haunter to attack, you are in trouble no matter what. But it does have the chance to do 50 damage, which is cool. It's nice in some matchups. But yeah, if you're sending up the Haunter to attack, either way, it's not really going to matter. If you have the regular Haunters, the deck's still going to work fine. That Haunter is rarely going to swing a game in your favor. But this deck, not very volatile. Nothing insane. It's just draw into your Gengars and hope that you can win the game from there. So if you want a low volatility but fun stage 2 deck, Gengar is one of the most fun you can play. I gotta be honest with you guys. Growing up as a kid and even now, I don't care much for Charizard. I was always a Blastoise kid, and this deck is essentially just water type Charizard, right? It aims to do the same thing. Get into a big stage 2 Pokemon that will one-shot whatever's in front of it. I really, really enjoy playing Blastoise. I think that this is the best way to play it, hands down. It's just Blastoise with a bunch of basic walls that are hard for your opponent to get through. You're often never going to be setting up more than 1 Blastoise. I mean, you got to get 5 energy on him for him to do max damage. So you need quite a bit of time. And these basic Mewtwo's and this Articuno and the Kangaskhan, they allow that to happen. What you really want to do is, if you're against like Pikachu or Mewtwo, you want to start with the basic Mewtwo. Articuno is like just another out to it, right? It makes your Pokeballs better at finding the walls because you don't want to leave Squirtle in the active spot. You got to get him out, and you need to have an active wall and you need to have a bench wall to protect yourself from those Sabrina plays. So it's very important that we play multiples of these walls. Even if you start with Baby Articuno, I would say you probably don't want to Misties to it. You probably want to use that first Misty to your Squirtle, see how much energy you get. If you think you got enough energy, all right, then use the second one on the Articuno. But more often than not, you just want to spend all of your resources powering up that Blastoise EX, because again, 5 energy is a lot to ask for when your only form of energy acceleration is a coin flip from Misty. Rest of the list, you know, 2 research, a Sabrina, 2 XP, 2 Pokeball, and 1 potion. This deck is just so much fun, right? What is more fun than working so hard on building up a stage 2 in the back and then just sending it up and saying, I win the game. Good luck, I win the game. I'm one-shotting anything in front of you. There's nothing you can really do. It is so much fun. I have a blast playing this deck. It's just so good sending up that tank and winning the game from there. So I think that this is probably the best of the off-meta stage 2s. You know, you think about Gengar and maybe Machamp, like those type of guys. I think this is the best one. So if you're looking for a new stage 2 to play that is actually pretty decent, I would go with Blastoise. It wouldn't be a Tilly video if I wasn't hyping up Exeggutor EX. Okay, this right here is a tournament-winning Exeggutor EX Wigglytuff EX list. I'm showing you this one first because, like I said, this is a tournament winner. It's tournament ready. There are some things I don't like about this list after playing so much Exeggutor EX myself, but we'll go over this real quick. So they're playing a 1-1 split of the Exeggutor EX and Baby Exeggutor, a 2-2 of the Wigglytuff, a Kangaskhan, and a Farfetch. They've left out Erica's, which I really dislike. Exeggutor EX is like the greatest early game attacker ever. Man, I love this card so much. It has 160 HP, and its attack is pretty decent too. It has a good damage output for 1 energy. It does 40 damage, flip a coin. If it does 40 more damage. That 160 HP is so relevant in so many matchups. I mean, you hit into a Starmie EX once, maybe do 40 damage, they hit you back. If you have an Erica's, play that Erica's, heal 50 damage off of it. Now you're ready to get attacked by that Starmie 2 more times before it goes down. You're probably going to do enough damage to knock it out. So Exeggutor trades very favorably into Pikachus, into Starmies, into Articunos. It can also trade decently well into Mewtwo's because, like I said, if they hit you for that 50 HP attack, and you Erica's heal it off, well, now you're forcing them to have the Giovanni in order to take the one-shot on Exeggutor EX whenever they get built up to that. So overall, I love this card, but I'm going to show you what is my personal favorite way to play it, my personal favorite deck in the game, hands down. So here is my favorite way to play the Exeggutor and Wigglytuff deck. I cannot imagine playing this deck without the Greninjas. I've tried out the version without it, and I've just missed them so much. The math that the Greninja fixes, the plays that the Greninja unlocks, like if you are swinging into your opponent's active and then they finally try to run away to the bench where you cannot hit them and you've left them with a low HP amount, well, you can just ping it with the Greninja either once or twice, take the knockout, get some prizes that way. I just can't imagine playing it without the Greninja. This is a grass-only deck. We want to attack with the Exeggutor ASAP. Every single game, you really can't afford to have those weird starts where you get 2 water energy off rip instead of a grass energy. It's not going to play too well for you. And then the 1-1 Wigglytuff has been so good. I mean, this deck is so favorite. Like, this deck rolls through Pikachu more often than not. This deck has a very favorable matchup against Articunos and Starmie type decks. The only decks that it really struggles against are like Mewtwo and Charizard. The Wigglytuff gives you a way back into those games because I mean, what else can stop a fully powered up Charizard, right? The only thing that can stop it is by hopefully putting it to sleep. If they get to that point and they set up their Charizard, it's kind of just GG's, but you do have the chance to steal that game with the Wigglytuff. I also love the promo Jigglypuff. I use it all the time to steal some extra turns when I feel like I need them with that Sing attack. Just, again, the amount of plays that this deck allows you to do. The Exeggutor is an amazing wall, like I was talking about before. All of the math that the Erica fixes are fantastic. I have been trying a different build where I do 1 Froakie, 2 Wigglytuff EX. I don't feel like I like it as much as just doing the 1 line. I feel like that's usually fine enough for me to be able to find the Wigglytuff EX. These are not fast games that you play with Exeggutor, Greninja, Wigglytuff. It takes quite a while for the game to be over. The only time it's over quickly is if your Exeggutor high rolls and hits a bunch of heads. The XPs are super important to let you pivot between Exeggutors or pivot from an Exeggutor into a Wigglytuff. Because, you know, you need 3 energy attached to the Exeggutor to retreat manually without any X speed. So that can be a tall ask when you're also trying to set up the Wigglytuff in the back. Just overall, my favorite deck in the game. I've had the most fun with it. I have a video on it that I think is a very, very great showcasing of it. I show basically every play you can make in the deck in that video. All of the games have some different, you know, little component that you can do, some little play that you can do showcased within it. So if you want to see more from this deck, go watch that video. I'll put it in the description. But yeah, that has been the list for you guys. If you're feeling a little bit bored, here are some decks for you to go try. I, again, highly recommend all of them. They are all a ton of fun. Besides the last 3, I can't really say that they're going to net you a ton of wins, but you're going to have a lot of fun playing any of these.